Hello, love. So happy to be back with you. I know another episode, another week. Yes, I'm here every Wednesday, whether you're listening or you are watching me on YouTube. And we're approaching the end of May. I know it's so crazy, right? I think this has to do with something about us living in the future and the past. If you think of little kids, time is so slow for them. It's because they're in the moment. And so I like to remind myself of that more, especially when I think that, years are just flying by. I like to slow it down a little by just being right here, right now. And I hope you're just right now, right here with me. Follow me. You can hit the star. So every Wednesday, I'm in your podcast library or I'm on your YouTube. And then also, if you would not mind doing a favor for me, if you could rate and review the show. If you're listening on Apple, it just takes a minute. And if you could rate or review the show, it really does help it find other women. So belonging. Let's get into the show, ladies. So part of our human brain, the way that we are wired, remember, so much of our brain, of course, was so that we could survive. And again, way back in, our ancestors. And part of it was this sense of belonging. And so way back, our ancestors, because they didn't live like we do today, they had to be a part of a tribe. If they were not part of a tribe, if they were just out by themselves, they wouldn't live very long. They needed to be part of a tribe so that they could get food and shelter and safety, right? There was a lot of harm, animals, all the things. They really needed to be part of a tribe. We are wired to belong. It is a part of us. So we want to belong to a tribe. We are parts of lots of tribes. We have family tribes. We have friend tribes where we work tribes. We have different communities that we belong to, that we are part of. So there are many tribes in our lives. And if you ever feel like you are going to be ousted from the tribe, or you have this feeling that you don't belong, you are going to have serious urges to get back in. Your brain is going to go into this very fearful frame of mind, and then you're going to do everything that you can to belong and to get into the tribe. Now, this is important. So I think about this. Oh my gosh, when I was young, ladies, we've all been young. So I was thinking about this. It was one of my first boyfriends, actually, and he wanted to break up. And I think, he was cheating on me. I know, ladies. This is how young love goes. And so I wanted him to love me. I wanted to feel accepted. I wanted, all of those things. And so I remember doing like crazy things, like showing up at his house, like just really like thinking about it now. I'm like, not, I remember this one time, like leaving work in a panic because I just, again, had this urge to want for him to love me, but it comes from this place of belonging. If you think that you are on the outside of something, there are two ways in which we kind of handle it. So if you think that you don't belong to a tribe or you don't belong, you can shrink. And what I mean by that is you start to hide, you start to disconnect. Or, you start kind of being extra. You just start like trying to fit in. Maybe you change the way that you are, what you think, because you want to fit in. And it's important to know because this is a real thing. You're like, Shannon, how does this relate to weight loss? Because for many of us, when you are carrying extra weight on your body, you might have some thoughts about that thin people belong and I don't. And I know you're like, but Shannon, I don't think that. I really want you to ask yourself, really ask yourself, because I tell you, I always kind of felt like I was a little on the outside. Whenever I would see like a thin person, immediately I wanted to shrink. Maybe I was out with my family and we were at a barbecue and I'd have shorts and a big old t-shirt on. And then some girl would show up in a little mini dress. And then suddenly I'd be like, oh, something's wrong with me, right? I don't fit in. Look, everyone here, you're at a pool or the beach and you're like, I don't fit in. I don't belong. This shows up in hundreds of different ways when it comes to what we feel about our bodies, what we think about our bodies. Maybe everyone in your family is thin. You're the only one who carries weight. Now, it is just important to know how this feeling of belonging is showing up for you, because again, you will do one of two things. You're going to shrink, you're going to disconnect, or you're not going to act like yourself and be authentic. You're going to start to feel desperation. And then you're going to start creating expectations of others and start to overthink everything. We'd also have some thoughts around when I lose the weight. This is, I think, just one of these limiting thoughts. When I lose the weight, then I will belong. And so you don't do the things. You stay small, you shrink. You don't go out and go after your dreams and your goals and try new things because you think, I don't belong here. You don't go kayaking because you're like, oh, I don't know, I don't really belong. Maybe I won't fit, all the things, because you're waiting to this day that you lose the weight. And then you can do the things, right? And then you'll belong, then you'll be fine. This also shows up if you start to have some fears, if your tribe, the people that you relate to or that you're closest to, is overweight, that if you lose the weight, you won't belong. This shows up for many of you. If I lose the weight, I'll be different. People will think I'm different. I won't belong. And this sense of belonging is so deep. And again, this is just how we're wired. So understanding where it is and how it's showing up for you is so important. Remember, so much of what I'm teaching you and so much of what I'm teaching my clients in Transform Boss is this first step of awareness. It's the foundation of losing weight. When you understand what you're thinking, what your thoughts and beliefs are, what's guiding you. I think sometimes we just think we're out of control. I did an episode on this recently, but I don't think you're out of control. I don't. I just think that you have these thoughts and beliefs and they're stored in your automatic brain and they're guiding you. And then once you start to come in awareness, you're like, oh, this is why. Again, it's this awareness and just starting to come into, okay, well, how does my sense of belonging show up? It can show up in relationships. Suddenly, your friend's not calling you and you're like, oh my God, she doesn't like me. She doesn't want to be my friend anymore. And then you start acting, I know we've all done it, crazy. I mean, in the greatest of ways, but still, right? We start getting like, I don't know what the right word is, but clingy, because we have this fear of what if they oust me from the tribe. So maybe you think, I really want to lose your weight, right? And you're like, Shannon, I'm trying and I'm doing the things, but you have this subconscious belief that you're going to lose your family or you're going to lose friends or you're going to be ousted out of the tribe. I know. If you have this subconscious belief, maybe you'll lose some weight, but you'll start to gain it back because again, your brain's like, hey, we got to get back in the tribe. We got to get back in the tribe. So this work on your brain, your beliefs, this is what we do in Transform Boss. And it's understanding why, understanding how we're wired and how it's hindering our goals and our dreams. So here's my take on it. Number one, really ask yourself, how does this sense of belonging to a tribe, whatever tribe you're in, you're probably in many, how's it showing up for you? And then number two, what are your thoughts and beliefs around belonging? Because I don't think we ever ask ourselves that question. I didn't ask. I didn't know how it was showing up. I just knew that there were certain things. So I had friends who were overweight and who I was close to. And I had thoughts like, oh, if I become the thin one, what will that mean? And again, because I wanted to belong, I had thoughts about like, oh, if I lose this, will my partner be attracted to me? I mean, this was many, many, many years ago, not my current husband. And so again, just understanding how this sense of belonging is showing up for you. One, get curious. Just how's the sense of belonging? And then what are your beliefs and thoughts? And then the third part of this is deciding what you want to believe, because this is what I just want to offer you. You belong. You belong. And when you start deciding like, oh, I belong, this can show up at work, right? You start like creating stories in your head about like how you don't belong and people don't like, all the things we do. Remember, our brain is going to see what you tell it, right? It's called bias, a confirmation bias. It wants to believe and give you evidence of what you think. So if you think that you don't belong, you're going to start creating all sorts of stories around how you don't belong. So number 3, decide what you want to think and then redirect your brain. It's good. If you don't understand how you're feeling and thinking, then you'll keep searching for that magical pill or food plan. And then you're just going to feel frustrated. And this is what I know. The answer, the solution, it is within you. You have it. You have everything that you need. This is why I created Transform Boss. So women could feel that they belonged, that they were in a safe place where they could share and be vulnerable and be accepted. And they could do this with women who understood what they were going through. So good. Next week, bringing Coach Jen back. Oh, our Coach Jen and me, our episodes are so good. They're just chocked full of goodness. So join me next week with Coach Jen. So fun. And again, if you want to take this work deeper and you really start to understand the awareness, why, and then start to take simple, small steps to release the weight, to heal your relationship with food and lose weight for the last time, then check out jointransformboss.com and you can get all the information. All right, my love. Bye for now.